Okay, and I'm back here with Mage. So Mage, they haven't had the best year, but they've had some. Like if we get a Galakrond's Awakening, so obviously Arcane Amplifier, good card. Descent of Dragons, they have the Dragon package here. Rolling Fireball, Arcane Breath if you have any dragons in hand. Saviors of Old Doom, I would say, like Box is insane, Reno is insane. Flak Mage is really, really good if you had the right cards for it. Flame Ward changed how you played around Mage. Rise of Shadows, Messenger Raven is okay. Power Creation's great. Conjurer's Calling's great. So, okay, they had fairly good last year. So, what they have is one thing they have, which is it a basic spell or is it a classic spell? Is they have this little guy here, Polymorph. There's going to be a pun in this flavor text, but it just came out bad. So this is going to be an important card because there are going to be a lot of big cards, and there are going to be a lot of cards that are incredibly sticky and incredibly hard to deal with. I think Polymorph might end up being better than Flame Strike and Fireball going into the next expansion. It plus Hex plus Sap are going to be cards that like Mage and Rogue and Shaman all want. And they're going to by far supersede any cards. If I were picking Mage, I'd pick Polymorph over probably anything that Mage has that's not completely busted. So, going over to Ashes of Outland, let's take a look at the cards. Let's see how the cards match up. Let's see how busted their cards are, if they are. Okay, Evocation. Fill your hand with random Mage spells. At the end of your turn, discard them. This is Solarium, except with spells. So Solarium, it had 3 minions because that's about the extent to what you could play. Because this is Mage spells, you're probably going to find whatever answer you have in there, even if you can't play this until turn 10. One small problem is because of the 1 mana cost, like you can't play this and then just get a box out of it, because the box is 9 mana. So overall, good card. Like being able to find your answers is always going to be good. So I would say this is probably let me pull this up here. I forgot to pull this up while I was taking a break, but it's going to be, I would say, at least 4 stars, probably a 5-star card. I want to say I hit it at 90. I put it at 84. Okay, so 4-star card, just because you have to wait so long for it. All right. Font of Power, discover a Mage minion. If your deck has no minions, keep all 3. So, it's a 1 mana discover. We know how good those cards are. It is a 3-star card. Sorry, it's 3. Find it here. 3-star card. That's what I thought. Okay. Apexis Smuggler. So, after you play Secret, discover a spell. So we've seen that before in Arcane Flak Mage. That was really good. What's better, discover a spell? Discover a spell or deal 2 damage to all enemies. So Flak Mage is obviously better because that's just a better effect. This is kind of a more independent effect here. And again, it requires you to have secrets, and obviously you could discover a secret and go infinite on it. But I don't think this is going to be as good as Flak Mage. So ultimately for this card, I would say 3-star card. Good, but it's a little bit situational. Astromancer Solarian. Spell damage, 2 mana, 3/2, spell damage plus 1, death rattle, deal, shuffle Solarian Prime into your deck. I went over this one earlier. So you can see, obviously, this is a fine card. Solarian Prime is obviously an insane card, but you have to be able to get it. So ultimately, for me, this is a 4-star card. It's good, but it's not enough to justify like picking it over great things. Incanter's Flow. So, reduce the cost of spells in your deck by 1. This looks strong. But, again, go to Dormant calculations. If you're spending 2 mana to do nothing, you should expect to gain at least 4 mana's value back to justify it. So, let's go a premium situation. Let's say you have 10 spells in your deck. You start with this, and I'll say 1 more spell in your deck on turn 2. And you play this on turn 2. This doesn't impact the spell in your hand. So the 8 other spells in your deck are all reduced by 1. So now let's say you draw half your deck. If you draw half your deck, you're going to get 4 spells, right? But you've also got to actually play them for this reduced cost to actually matter. Because if you get a spell and you don't actually play it, then the reduced cost, it's just worthless. It's the same thing as if you hadn't played it. So that's the absolute best case scenario for it. And that's still only like an okay scenario. So ultimately, I have this at 1 star just because it's so slow, because arena decks, you're not going to get that many spells. And ultimately, I don't think it's going to work in arena. I think this is going to be a noob trap card. Star Square. 2 mana, 3/1, Death Rattle draws spell. This is Shimmering Tempest with a better attack and a better effect, because the spells in your deck are going to probably be better than the random ones it would generate. So, yep, really good card. This is a 4-star card. Imprisoned Observer, I went over this as the example. Dormant for 2 turns. When this awakens, deal 2 damage to all enemy minions. The opponents are going to play around this, so it's not as powerful as it could be. Card is still good because dealing damage to all minions is good. It's still a sizable body. You still want to pick this card. It's still a 4-star card. It's just not insane because people will know it's coming. Another one, Portal. After your opponent casts a spell, summon a random 4-cost minion. I compare this to Cat Trick. Cat Trick gives you reliably the same minion every turn, which is a 4/2 of stealth. This, a random 4-cost minion, could just be a 3/3. So, yeah, you pay 3 mana for a heavily delayed 3/3. Nope, that's not worth it. So I think it'll ultimately end up fine. Like, on average, it's going to be fine, but it's a 2-star card. It's not. There's a lot of better cards than that. Apexis Blasts. Deal 5 damage if your deck has no minions. Summon a random 5-cost minion. Ignore this. It's 5 mana, deal 5 damage. That's a 2-star. That's a 2-star effect. And finally, here we have Deep Freeze. Freeze an enemy, summon 2/3/6 water elementals. Compare this to Power of Creation, which summons 2 discovered 6-drops. And yeah, it's a lot worse than that. The freeze is good, but the freeze, I don't think it makes it better than Power of Creation. So it's still a good card. It's still a 4-star card, but I'm not saying it's not insane. And that's Mage there. Mage has Polymorph, and that's going to really impact them in how they handle the cards coming up. All right. And then after Mage here, I have Paladin up next. So I will see you guys with Paladin.